Okay, so today's lesson is called Chapter 7.6, Factoring. So factoring, if you remember the word factor means multiplying, right? And so factoring means we're kind of doing the same steps as FOIL, but backwards. So you know how before we would have two binomials. For example, it would look something like this. Don't write this down. I just want to show you real quick, okay? It would be, for example, we had this, right? And we had to use, for example, FOIL to solve it. And then we would get an answer that looked like this, right? Well, now we're going to have this polynomial and we're working backwards to get the two binomials as our answer, okay? So I'm going to show you how to do that. It is called factoring. And you have to pay attention because if you miss out, you do miss out. But if you pay attention, you'll end up being able to do it really fast and really easy, okay? All right, let's get started. The first thing is I do want to go over a couple of little notes for it. So let me see here. The original is the polynomial is x squared plus bx plus c. Okay, where b and c are going to be substituted with numbers, right? Now, we want this to end up being the answer x plus p times x plus q, where p and q are going to be substituted with numbers, okay? Okay, so there were three different ways that this could be broken up, okay? C could be a positive or a negative number. So it just depends when you look at C what it is. If it is a negative, okay, I'm going to start with that over here. If C is negative, then what's going to happen is these two numbers, P and Q, are going to have different signs, okay? So we're going to put here P and Q have different signs. So this trick is only to find out, is it positive, is it negative, what is it going to be? So if C is a negative, then on your answer, one's going to be a positive, one's going to be a negative, okay? That's how it looks with the binomial. Okay, but if C is positive, then there's two ways that this could go. Let's say C is positive, and let's say B is also positive, then guess what our answer is going to look like? P and Q, they are both going to be positive. So P and Q are positive. So that's kind of easy to remember, right? If C is positive, B is positive, then your answer, everything's going to be positive. Okay? Okay, so let's say C is positive, but B is negative. Okay. So you can kind of guess what our answer is going to look like, right? So if C is positive and B is negative, then both P and Q will also be negative, okay? Okay. Oh, okay, Guillermo. Thanks for letting me know. Okay, are there any questions here about the signs, positives or negatives? We're good? All right, let's move on. Okay, so the directions say factor the polynomial. Okay, so example number 1. The original says x squared plus 7x plus 6. Okay, so you do notice how C and B are both positive? That means your answer are, both of them are going to be positive. Okay. Now let's talk about what the steps on how to do this. There's 2 areas that you're going to need to look at. The first one is you need to look at C, and you're going to need to look at B, okay? So whenever I first do this lesson, I like to make a table. And on the table, we're going to write the factors of C, or in this case, 6. So the factors of 6. And we're going to look at B. So the factors of 6, they have to have a sum equal to B, which in this case is 7. So let's talk about the factors of 6. Remember, the factors mean when you multiply, right? So what 2 numbers give you 6? Well, we know for sure 1 times 6. And you go in order, right? After 1, 2. 2 times 3. 4, 5. And then that's it, right? Because it's 1, 2, 3, so it's circles. So these are the factors of 6. So which ones give you a sum of 7? 1 plus 6 gives you 7. And 2 plus 3 is 5. So the best one here is going to be 1 and 6. 1 and 6, those are the winner. So then our answer will have 1 and 6. 1 and 6. And the beginning part will be x plus and x plus. And we know they're both positive because we know that they were both positive. So that's it. This is the way you factor. So our answer is x plus 1 times x plus 6. Okay, any questions on what I did here? Now, if you're not sure if your answer is correct, you can do FOIL to check. Okay? So if I do FOIL, I'm going to do the first, right? So x times x is x squared. X times 6 is 6x. Why did I write that? 6x. And then we're going to do the inside. 1 times x and 1 times 6. So 1 times x is x, and 1 times 6 is 6. And then we can combine our like terms here in the middle. So our answer is x squared plus 7x plus 6. Does it match the original? Yes. So that's how you double check it. Okay? So you don't have to double check everything, but in case you are not sure about your answer, you just do FOIL to check it. Okay, number 2. Number 2, x squared plus 9x plus 8. Okay, so we're going to do our little table over here. And we want to know the factors of 8 to give you the sum of 9. Well, the factors of 8, we know it's 1 times 8. 2 times 4. There's no 3. And then 4, it rounds. It goes back in a circle. So this equals 9. This equals 6. So the best answer is 1 and 8. So our answer is x plus 1 times x plus 8. So this is it. Okay. Any questions there? Are we doing okay? All right, very good. Okay, let's try the next one. Number 3. W squared minus 4w plus 3. Okay, so remember the rules about the positive and negatives. If C is positive, but B is negative, then our answer is going to be both of them are negative, right? So that's the rule. Okay, so over here, we're going to do our table. So we need the factors of 3 to give us a sum of negative 4. Well, we already know that 1 times 3 is 4. And we also know that both of them have to be a negative. So when you add these up, you get negative 4 and it matches. So we're going to use negative 1 and negative 3. So then our answer would be w minus 1 times w minus 3. And remember, if you're not sure, you do FOIL just to double check, okay? Okay, guys, let me know if you have questions. Let's move on to number 4. I'm going to go to the next page, okay? Thumbs up if we're ready to move on. Okay. Thumbs down if you're not ready. Okay, let's move on. So number 4. So n as in Nancy, n minus 12n plus 35. Okay, so we need the factors of 35. And our sum is supposed to be the negative 12. Okay, so we always start it with 1. 1 times 35. How about 2? No. 3? No. 4? No. 5? Yes, 5 fits. 5 times 7. How about 6? No. 7? Aha, we already did the circle, so we're good. Okay, if C is positive and B is negative, that means both our answers are going to be negative, right? So that means that this is negative, this is negative, this is negative, this is negative. And when you add them, you get negative 36. And when you add these two, you get negative 12. And which one matches B? Negative 5 and negative 7. That means n minus 5 times n minus 7. Okay. Any questions here? So everybody's doing okay so far? That's good. Okay. Number 5. Actually, we're going to jump to number 6. Let's jump to number 6. X squared plus 2x minus 15. Okay, so I'm going to do my table. And after a while, you're not going to need the table anymore, and you're going to be able to do it without it. So I need the factors of 15, and we need the sum of 2. Okay, let's just talk about the factors first. Don't worry about that negative yet. But because C is a negative, then that means our answer, one's a negative, one's a positive, okay? So that means when we find the factors of 15, our sum is supposed to be a positive 2, right? So the factors of 15, we know for sure it's 1 times 15. But because one is a positive, one is a negative, that means you have to check both of them. So that means when one's a negative, the other's a positive, and then we're going to check the other way, where the 1 is a positive and the 15 would be a negative, okay? And then let's find the other factors of 15. We could do, let's see, after 1, there's 2. No, 2 doesn't fit. 3, yes, 3 fits. 3 times 5. So if 1 is a negative, the other is a positive, we have to test out the other one, right? Oops. Hold on, that's supposed to be a 3. Where we have 3 times 5, 1's a positive, and the 5 will be a negative. All right, so the sums here, we end up with 14. When you add this, you get negative 14, so those don't match the 2. When you add these two, you get positive 2, and here you get negative 2, so the best one is the positive 2, which is negative 3 and 5. Is everybody okay with what I did here? Okay. So we're going to use x minus 3 times x plus 5. And this is it. So notice how 1's a negative, 1 is a positive, and we were able to figure it out because the sum of those two gives you the positive 2, which is letter B. Okay, any questions for number 6? Oh, sorry, Diego. I'm recording this lesson, so you might be able to go back and check it out, okay? Okay, let's jump, not number 7, let's do number 8. We're gonna do number 8. Okay, so number 8 says V as in Victor, so V squared minus V minus 42. Okay, so when I do my table, so it has to be the factors of 42. And this is going to be the sum. Okay, so because C is a negative, that's why I put just 42. Because I know that my answer is one is going to be a positive, one's going to be a negative, so I have to test out both types. Well, we want to start with 1, right? 1 times 42. And then we have, after the 1, we have 2 times 21. Does 3 fit into 42? What do you guys think? 3? Yep, it does. 3 times 14. How about 4? Nah. 5? No. 6? Yes. 6 times 7. Okay. So, because one's going to be a positive, one's going to be a negative, that means we have to test it out, right? So, for example, if I put the negative here and I get the sum, I get negative 41, right? And if I put negative here, I get, well, that's not going to give me negative 1. Which one's going to give me negative 1? Well, I know for sure the 6 and 7. So one of them has to be a negative. Well, for it to be the answer negative 1, the bigger number has to have the negative, so it's going to be negative 7. And when you add those, they do give you negative 1, so I'm going to use 6 and negative 7. So my answer is V plus 6 times V minus 7. Okay. So I didn't write the doubles. You know how it's like 1 and 42 and then 1 and 42 again? I didn't do that because of space. But I just did the factors, and then I was able to see, okay, if I make one of them a negative, which was going to be a -1, and that's how I figured it was +6 and -7. Okay. Questions here? We're good?